I'm back. And it's for another crafting video. The one I did last, the Hermit God sculpture from clay, was perceived pretty well. You guys liked it. I even won some kind of award for best fan art of the year. Some of you voted for me, I have to thank you for that. In any case, today we're not gonna be making anything from ceramics. Today we're going to make the Shield of Ogmur. A very famous item indeed. Many people want it, some people have it. Anyway, that's not the point. Today we're going to create the Shield of Ogmur from metal. And it's not going to be an actual shield that you can use, so that would be pretty cool, and maybe, perhaps, it's something that I could do in the future. I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises, I'm really bad with those. In any case, we're going to be making a Shield of Ogmur from silver and brass, and it's going to be a pendant. It's going to be a little necklace. I hope it's going to be interesting, and in the end we'll have a nice piece of jewelry. We'll see. So, not much point in talking anymore. Let's just jump right into it.
And with that, I would like to welcome you to the narrated part of the video. The first thing, of course, was to figure out how exactly I should interpret the 8-bit sprite and turn it into a somewhat well-designed pendant that was still very recognizable to be an Ogmur. It didn't take long for me to choose which edges I wanted to round out and which ones I planned to keep straight. Next, I prepared the materials that I was going to use. My plan was to cast both the brass and the silver part into little metal pancakes and then refine the shape afterwards. The brass consisted mostly of scraps and salvaged computer parts, whereas the silver came from eBay in form of old jewelry. I was going to use the combined heat of my oxy-propane torch and a normal butane torch. As you can see, I managed to create some pretty colored flames, but sadly that was it. My plan to melt the brass failed spectacularly. This of course made me very concerned about having the same issue with the silver later. Fortunately, I had a backup plan for the brass part. After making an accurate and symmetric template, I traced the outline onto this hollow brass piece. I made some rough cuts with my angle grinder and removed the burrs on some sandpaper. Then I refined the outline using my Dremel and various files. After a while I had my basic shape finished and could move on to the silver part. Using a jeweler's loop, you can see the stamp on the silver, which is a 335. That translates to a silver content of 83.5% in the alloy. That's a bit less than sterling silver with 92.5, but it also makes the silver harder. After cutting up some cufflinks, I went back to my torches to melt the silver. To my surprise, that actually worked out quite well. My first attempt at pouring failed though, and I ended up with a little silver bead instead of a flat sheet. I then carved a rough mold out of a dry piece of clay to pour my silver into. Due to my bigger, cooler torch running out of gas, the next attempt failed as well. With a fresh gas container, I was ready for my third and final pour. Again, it was far from perfect, as my mold kind of exploded. Still though, I got a sizable bead of silver, and while it was still hot, I hammered it into a flat pancake that gave me pretty much exactly what I needed to work off. Using a template, I marked what material I had to remove. I didn't just want to file everything because I wanted to save as much of the silver as possible. It is a precious metal after all, and I can use it for later projects. Using wire cutters proved impossible though, because the hammering work hardened my piece. Even though I annealed it later on, I decided to switch to a jigsaw. Just like before, a great deal of filing was needed to get the outline right. Now for the first time did what I was working on kind of resemble the Ogmur. Next followed the meticulous job of getting the dome shape right. Luckily, I have no problem with hours of grinding and filing. Shortly after midnight though, I was satisfied with the shape and I decided to call it a day. A few days later, a couple of packages with special soldering equipment arrived at my doorstep, and after familiarizing myself with the new tools, I was ready to move on with the project. After sanding the finish of the brass part to a more acceptable state, I prepared to drill a hole right through the center. This will allow me to solder the pieces together from the back of the pendant. Here you can see me apply some specialized flux that is necessary for silver soldering. Then I soldered the pieces together by applying the solder to the hole in the back. This actually worked way better than I expected it to, and the solder went all the way to the edge of the silver. As this was my first time actually soldering something together this way, I did make some rookie mistakes. For one, I added way too much solder to the point where drops of it tarnished the surface of the pendant. The much bigger problem, however, was that I firmly soldered the metal clip to the shield. So much so that it was impossible to get it off. So I had no choice but to chip away at the clip by various means to get rid of every bit of steel on the pendant. If anything remained, it would only be a matter of time till rust developed and ruined the whole thing. Once I was done with that, I needed to get the front side back into its former state. As final addition to the pendant, I needed to add a way to hang it on a chain or band. So I decided to salvage a piece of silver wire from an earring and use it to make a little loop. Again, I soldered the pieces together, and again I ruined the finish I accomplished before. But hey, at least I didn't solder to the clamp this time. Then I had to clean up everything, and I could move on to buffing the pendant to its final sheen. Here I'm using my homemade buffing wheel and some metal polish on a rag for the finishing touches. And with that, the building part of this project is finished. Narration over.
Ad time. Does this ever happen to you?
Hello, nice weather today, isn't it?
Go away, loser, I don't wanna talk to you.
Don't let this happen to you. Spice up your game and break the ladies' defenses with a limited edition handcrafted Ogmur-Pendant made from real silver and brass by Pixelmans, available now on eBay.
Hello, nice weather today.
Oh my god. Is that the limited edition handcrafted Ogmur-Pendant made from real silver and brass by Pixelmans, available now on eBay?
Yes, it certainly is the limited edition handcrafted Ogmur-Pendant made from real silver and brass by Pixelmans, available now on eBay. Do you want to get married?
Yes, and also I will have multiple children with you right now.
Be like him and get yourself the limited edition handcrafted Ogmur-Pendant made from real silver and brass by Pixelmans, available now on eBay.
And there you have it. The third installment of my fanart series comes to a close. Personally, I'm very satisfied with the outcome, even though it's far from perfect and I ran into some issues along the way. Keep in mind that this is like the third time making jewelry for me, and the first time working with silver at all. In that light, I think it's almost surprising how well it all turned out in the end. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching this video, and as always, any question, critique or advice is welcome, so drop it down below. Now bear with me for a second while I go into salesman mode one last time. Every time I see some physical fan art being shown, there's always comments saying that people wish they could buy whatever it is. So I decided to give you that option now. This is a great opportunity for you to support the series and allow me to buy better materials and tools for even cooler projects, while at the same time actually getting something cool and unique in return. In my opinion, a much better deal than being, let's say, a Patreon supporter. That's why I decided to put it up for auction on eBay. The offer will last 10 days from now and I'll ship it anywhere in the world. Different shipping costs will of course apply depending on where you're from. A link to the offer will of course be in the description, and everything you need to know will be written there, alongside some more pics and memes. I'd like to thank you one last time for joining me today, and especially if you made it all the way to the end of this video. Goodbye, and don't expect any good videos anytime soon.